So, was it just me, or did anybody else think that Angelina Merkel's appearance at the EU looked like the Palatine who was the Sith Lord in Star Wars? I mean, it was just incredible how completely familiar that looked when she was standing addressing the European Union or the EU Parliament. I mean, it was just absolutely incredible. And now they want France to give up their seat on the or on the Security Council for the EU. So the Germans are basically going to take France's seat on the EU. Not that Germany has really had any sort of stability in Europe for the last century, but now France has got to give way. And because Macron is such a oh, well, we can all see what Macron is just now. His poll ratings are plummeting. His mass riots on the streets. Another globalist in trouble. And Marine Le Pen looks like she's going to win the European elections in France as well. Because obviously, well, we all knew when the Macron was going to be a disaster anyway. So, I mean, just absolutely incredible. And now we've got, as I said it from the start, that May was going to fudge the Brexit. And this half in, half out deal that nobody wants, even the Remainers don't want it, means that she is likely to lose the election. Now, the British people were quite specific, and they told the politicians that we wanted out the EU. And now even Jeremy Corbyn is talking about a second vote. Why do we need a second vote? We've already told the politicians what we want. We want to leave the EU, not this half in, half out May deal. It's another Remainer left the cabinet today. And I think before he even goes to Parliament, we'll see more resignations. This is fundamentally flawed. Everybody knows it. It's not going to pass. So, and this could be the fatal blow in May's longevity of her badly orchestrated premiership, which will be great. I think that's another one bites the dust. That'll be great. Absolutely shambolic. And now in the Express today, that she is saying that she is going to sign the UN's declaration in Marrakesh in Morocco on the rights of migrants. These are basically illegal migrants, and we're not allowed to criticise the fact that this has not been ratified by the people. The people had already told the government that they wanted to control immigration, and I don't remember this being in the Conservative Party's manifesto. I think there's as I said before, I think there's a big problem what's in the manifesto and what is actually done in the parliamentary term, which is not in the manifesto. I don't remember anybody voting to be sign up to the UN, and nobody voted for the UN either. So that's another body where nobody's ever voted for, and they're dictating in their globalist situation who can come out our country. That's like somebody who doesn't live in your house saying, right, we're going to control who can come in and out your house. It's just absolutely bonkers. And nobody voted for the United Nations. They're an unelected body. Why they would be dictating our immigration policy? That's because our globalists and the people who are in power, Merkel, May, even Sturgeon, are all basically globalists, and they're basically lied to us right from the start. They've already signed up to the Barcelona process and the Union of the Mediterranean, and this is just the sort of nail in the coffin for allowing migrants to freely travel across Europe. So nobody has had an opportunity, none of the British public have had an opportunity to actually debate this. It's not really been debated in Parliament, yet we are going to be signing up to human rights of migrants to come to our country and then obviously take housing and other things that what has actually happened, because I spent, after spending 2 years starving on the streets in Dubai after being attacked by a UAE state taxi driver, I came back and spent 2 years in homeless accommodations here, and I saw exactly what was happening in them. And basically, people are getting made like second-class citizens who are basically paid for generations for the right for social housing, and they are not then even able to get it because people who haven't paid anything are able to migrate here and jump the queue, say the refugees or whatever else, from the globalists, the open borders exponents like George Soros, who actually has contribute to the NGOs to actually allow this to happen. So we've never been consulted on this mass immigration or whether or not we want it. We're just told that this is going to happen. So we no choice, and so we're basically not dictating our own policy. It's basically signed up to the globalists in May. If you look back, May, Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, John Major, all globalists, and who else now miss out there, and obviously Cameron, all globalists, and not one of them had a different agenda. So the manifesto that they tell you is not the globalist manifesto that they're actually working on. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's an incredible thing that they're actually doing without any consultation to the British public. They're just doing this. It wasn't in the manifesto, and May has just done this. So she's not going to control our immigration policy. So the fact that she's setting targets is a lie, because this is going to prevent any criticism of mass immigration. So like Angela Merkel, who, honestly, when she was addressing that, she just looked like Palpatine in Star Wars, the evil Sith Lord addressing the Republic in the chamber, both whether it be the EU chamber or the Star Wars chamber for the Republic. I mean, just unbelievable. So France is going to get kicked off the Security Council to make way for Germany. And vis-a-vis the EU, because I think that they would actually control it, or some puppet of Germany. Thank goodness we're leaving. So now even the Labour Party are now talking about a second referendum. So they don't care about the votes in the north of England who all voted to leave. They're only caring about the votes in London who lost and now want a second referendum. There's Sadiq Khan, the fascist wee man, now wanting a second referendum as well. So because they lost, they want another vote. But that's not the way how it works. What we asked to do is, and Tim, gentleman that owns Witherspoons, on Question Time, correctly put it, we want to leave the EU and have that actually sanctioned. But I mean, just now I'm banned on my Facebooks. And so what they do just now is very clever. So I can't comment during this period up to the signing in Marrakesh for the illegal immigrants, who they're saying that it's a human right. So anybody has got a human right to come to the UK. So that's not really going to be controlling immigration, is it? That's going to be basically continuing with the open door immigration system that people voted to stop. So the only way that you can actually stop this is by getting rid of the Lib Lab Con Party, because they are all signed up globalists. There's another guy today, another Tory MP, resigning as a Remainer because he wants another second referendum. So he's the infiltration of the globalists in the globalist cabal in the Conservative Party is quite staggering. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So May's just said, so they didn't hear anything. So May, whatever constituency May's in, those people down there are now have voted for somebody who doesn't want Brexit, who's made a mess of Brexit, who we're heading towards a no deal because it's not going to get through Parliament. And we've just got an absolute disaster waiting to happen through the mass immigration, which the British people have said we don't want that, and now she's going to Marrakesh to sign up the EU, the UN, the non-elected UN globalist cabal. A, a, a declaration on the rights of the immigrant to come to our country, which the British people voted en masse to reject. So the only way that we can actually change this is by not voting for the Lib Lab Con Party, because they're all the same. There is 85% Remainers in the Parliament or something ridiculous like that, which is not representative of the people in the UK. In fact, there must be Remainers MPs misrepresenting their constituents in Brexit seats, both in the Conservative and Labour Party. And there's Jeremy old step-toe Corbyn saying that he's wanting a second referendum. So all the guys in the north of England who are voting Labour should now switch to UKIP, because Labour are not caring about you. You've voted to actually leave the EU, and they don't care. They don't care about what you want. So, and none of them do, and the Conservatives, none of them do. So, I think I'll be going down, hopefully, next week on the 9th, down to the Brexit march the day before, because obviously they're not listening to us. So down, and I might speak to Gerard Batten and actually join UKIP on the day of the march. So that's what I'll do. I might actually broadcast so that I actually join UKIP and get Gerard Batten to actually present me coming into UKIP, which will be absolutely fantastic. I'm a bit disappointed in what's actually happened between Gerard Batten and Nigel Farage. I think Nigel Farage, I'm not here to criticise Nigel, because I think Nigel's done an amazing job. But I think criticising Gerard for actually saving UKIP. I mean, Gerard Batten actually turned UKIP around and pretty much saved the party, which is great now, because we have to join it, because we're certainly not voting Conservative anymore. They are just selling us out. So unless we leave in a no deal, if they dare to actually have a second vote, then we'll all be voting UKIP anyway. We're certainly not going to put up with a second vote. They lost. And if there was a second vote, the only way there could be a second vote is between no deal, free trade Brexit and May's deal. Remain could not be back on. We've already said that we don't want to remain in the EU. So the Remainers have already lost that argument. You don't get another bite of the cherry. And what I think they're arguing for is that there would only be May's deal and Remain. So those of us who do not wish either of those options wouldn't have a say on the vote. We've already voted to leave the EU, so the only way that it would work for a second vote is May's deal or no deal. That's the only way that it would actually work. We should be getting a say on whether or not we want to actually sign the UN's, the non-democratically elected UN's declaration in Marrakesh on the rights of people immigrating here. I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. People are getting put on the street by our political class, and they are not actually, they're being given sleeping bags, while people who have never paid any money are getting housed ahead of them. So is this part of the collegiate plan, which is the ethnic cleansing of the people in Europe? Well, it could well be. I mean, we've already seen Merkel doing that, and the reaction over in Germany. They have obviously not really welcomed the aftermath of the initial bringing in of the people, but they're now talking about bringing in 57 million people into Europe because of their bad policies that they can't get the people here to actually have more children. I mean, my great-gran had about 7 children. Now you're lucky if you can get a date with women these days, never mind anything else. Everything's a crime, and it's just the feminists, the socialist feminists have really mucked up the relationship side between men and women. But that was their objective anyway. Feminism, the third way feminism that's now out is just Marxism. It's just Marxism. And we already know the aftermath of Marxism, the murder of hundreds of millions or tens of millions of people throughout the world. And there we've got Fat Diane Abbott on the BBC bestowing the virtues of Chairman Mao, who was the biggest political mass murderer the world has ever seen. Can you imagine if on the BBC somebody saying, oh yeah, well, Hitler was a great guy, he had a lot of policies. I know there were 6 million Jews that get murdered, but the rest of his policies were fantastic. That's effectively what Diane Abbott did with Mao. Now, I don't find either authoritarian ideology, and both are socialist ideologies. National Socialism is a socialist ideology. I don't find either of these ideologies acceptable. They've already proven that these are ideologies for mass murderers, and now we've seen McDonald. I mean, so we've got a shadow Home Secretary who's bestowing the virtues of Mao. We've got a Chancellor, Shadow Chancellor, who's had a red book, Mao's little red book, which in it talked about the murdering or the violence towards other people, which is obviously a hate crime. In Manchester city centre, they've got a statue to Frederick Engels. Frederick Engels was the first person to advocate genocide against the European people. That's sitting in the middle of Manchester town centre. And Frederick Engels, who wrote in Neue Ranische Zeitung, which was Marx's journal, about the genocide against the Scots, the Scottish people, the Basques, the Bretons, calling Slavs dirty people. Calling Slavs dirty people and talking about Poland as a non-country. And he was the predecessor. That's why in Marxism there's a lot of anti-white racism from other white people, reverse racism. Racism is the discrimination against somebody else that's not in your race. Now, there is no such thing as it's the human race anyway. There are people who might not look like you are not a different race. They are part of the human race. But that's why the left actually, the left are basically racist. Marx was a racist and an anti-Semite, and that's where the anti-Semitism in the Labour Party causes a lot of Marxists now, neo-communists. In the Labour Party, that's where the anti-Semitism's coming. He wrote a book called The Jewish Question, Marx did. So we've now got a statue to Frederick Engels, the first person to advocate genocide, the predecessor, and basically the same as Giovanni Gentili, who was also a socialist. He was the ideological inspiration for fascism. Mussolini, who was also a socialist and then moved into fascism, which is right-wing socialist authoritarianism. So Frederick Engels was Marx's financier and also wrote in his Marx's journals. Marx was the inspiration for communism, and the communists murdered more people than the National Socialists. Then it came Giovanni Gentili. This is the timeline. Giovanni Gentili, who was the ideological inspiration for fascism, who came out of Marxism. It was a sort of evolution out of Marxism. And National Socialism was the writings between fascism and Marxism, and then you get this hybrid National Socialism, but they're all in the socialist authoritarian bloc if you look at your political compass. Fascism is right-wing socialism. That's why the left don't like to talk about it, but the Marxists have murdered more people than even the fascists or the National Socialists. They're the biggest scumbags out. So we've now got a shadow Home Secretary advocating the Chairman Mao, or saying that he was a great guy and fantastic. We've now got John McDonald, who brought out Mao's little red book in the House of Commons and put it down on the table. A guy that killed 45 million people, let them starve to death. On YouTube, undercover, he had actually been taped, McDonald had been taped saying that he was a Marxist. And then we've also got Jeremy Steptoe Corbyn, who is also saying that he was a Marxist as well, or he advocated Marx as well. So Marx was obviously the ideological inspiration for the genocide in Lenin and Stalin and Mao, and we just saw two members of the Communist Party in Cambodia going on trial for the genocide of 2 million people in Cambodia. And these people are at the height of political power in the UK. These people could go into government. And this is what the globalists, the actual corporatist globalists, are actually looking for. A bulwark so that people will be put off the left, and that people will not want Corbyn because he would be a disaster in political power, or Fat Diane, or McDonald. I mean, can you imagine if these were Nazis instead of communists? Can you imagine these guys were going... John McDonnell was at a communist rally talking about comrades, and there were people flying flags for Stalin, and he was at a communist rally. Can you imagine there was like I don't know, I wouldn't say a conservative, because conservatives aren't National Socialists. The National Socialists would be more like Labour Party members who are nationalists. So they would be Nazis. They would be more likely there would be Nazis in the Labour Party. But say there was a Nazis in the Labour Party and they were advocating National Socialism and going to National Socialist rallies. But yet our media don't actually talk about it. Our media just cover it up and don't actually talk about it. So we've now going to have... So May's not learned anything. The Globalists and the Conservative Party have just said, well, we're going to continue our corporatist agenda, where we're going to let in thousands of people who displace you as the indigenous population. You can get sleeping bags and sleep in the streets. We'll just replace you with cheap labour that will come in, and you will be ethnically cleansed in your own country through the use of mass immigration. And that will facilitate... I mean, there we see... the Japanese talking about that we should stay in the EU. I mean, it's none of the Japanese business what we do. Now, what they've got is factories in the UK. So now we've got foreign governments because of foreign companies. So our foreign corporatist agendas are actually dictating what our policies are in the UK. Our immigration policies, or our political policies. I don't remember Japan having a vote on what we do internally, and they're overstepping the mark, just like Barack Obama did, overstepping the mark, and it's none of their business what we do. We've already had a democratic vote, and that's how we actually work the system. Oh, so May's not listening. The Conservatives aren't listening. I'm joining UKIP. I'll be down. The Brexit Betrayal March is on the 9th of December, next Sunday. And hopefully I'll be down there doing my reporting, speaking to people, hopefully see Gerard Baton as well. I'm very disappointed at Nigel. I really have a lot of respect for Nigel. I think Nigel's timing on this about Tommy Robinson. Now, I think Tommy Robinson situation is completely overdone. If the politicians have spent more time talking about the mass rapes and the mass murders by the Muslims in the UK, then there probably wouldn't be a Tommy Robinson. Tommy Robinson would probably be watching the football somewhere incognito. There wouldn't have been a need for Tommy Robinson. It's only because of the failure of our political class to do anything that Tommy Robinson has popped up. But I've not really... I think even Tommy Robinson was in UKIP, it wouldn't really make that much difference. Why these MEPs were resigning is just beyond me. But anyway, I think Nigel and Gerard should be pointing their guns out the way instead of in the way, especially at this time. This is not the time to be actually fighting each other. I mean, Nigel's sort of comments on there were just unbelievable. And I don't think Nigel's even read the Quran. The Quran tells the Muslims to murder and rape non-Muslims. And this is another thing. So we've effectively now got blasphemy laws coming in that we can't criticise the child rapist death cult, which is Islam. Why am I calling it a child rapist death cult? Well, so if you leave Islam in the Quran, the punishment is death. So if you leave this abomination of a religion, the punishment is death. If you're in the Hadith, which is the other book, there are other religious books, there's 3 religious books, but one of the other religious books, the Hadith, the punishment for homosexuality is death. That's why in 11 countries, homosexuality is punishable by death. For being an atheist, so our scumbag May is going to sign up the Marrakesh Declaration and let more Muslims in, because obviously this is part of the Barcelona process, the Union of Mediterranean, and it just allows May to not have any sort of, so because we're pulling out of the EU, that she's a pedo as well. And that was me that said that, so one of the guys reading that. So then because we're pulling back out the EU, the UN declaration allows May to circumnavigate the fact that we've got to treat migration as a human right. So it's unbelievable. We put her there, not us the dog. Put her there, not us the dog. Don't get that one. But anyway, so they're basically still allowing the mass immigration. That's what they're signing up. That's what they're signing up this month will be in Marrakesh. A lot of other countries have already pulled out. And America's pulled out, Poland, Australia. They can see the writing on the wall for this. But obviously, Merkel, why Merkel's still there? I mean, that scumbag, just the happiest day will be when she goes. I mean, she's just atrocious, absolutely atrocious. And I don't know how they've done it. I don't know why the Germans are voting for the Green Party. They're just as bad. I mean, they're absolutely terrible, the Greens. They're just a bunch of communists. I'm saying she's a dog, and we don't put her in power, the scumbag. Yeah, well, I think the quicker she goes, the better. I don't think, well, obviously the Conservative Party didn't have enough votes to actually have a vote of no confidence, or that was gerrymandered. And we know that the Conservative Party cheat and do disgusting things as well. I just received back a notification from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office that they won't do an investigation, even though the British government did a preliminary insight, but they said that they're not going to investigate. Even though I was held in the UAE for 2 years, allowed to starve on the streets, the British government did nothing. The Foreign Office, I think, is quite a racist, anti-Scottish establishment. I would love to know how many Scots were actually in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. I think they're quite a racist. I may actually do a bit of campaigning when I'm down in London outside the Foreign Office, just to highlight the racism and anti-Scottish racism in the Foreign Office. I think there's not very many Scottish people in it. I don't think they make up the 10% of the workforce, and I think maybe they need some diversity officers in there to actually get more Scots in. But the Foreign Office refused to investigate it. Now, what was the deal in the end, man? I didn't get the start of your show. So the deal is that Mrs. May, in the Express today, Mrs. May is going to sign up for the Marrakesh Declaration, which allows immigrants, people to a human right for people anywhere in the world to emigrate here to the UK, and anybody criticising it could be done for hate speech. So basically more mind control by the state. What's eventually going to happen is going to be, it'll lead to violence, because what they're saying is, you live here, you don't have the right to criticise this. We've only got the right to impose it on you, even though they've never actually said it in their manifesto. That the Conservatives have never said it on their manifesto, which is why I'll be joining UKIP probably at the weekend. So that's basically what it says. That was in the Express today. So May's already said she's going to sign it. not in the Conservative manifesto. The UN's not an elected body. I'll see you in London, buddy. The UN's not an elected body. Nobody's voted for the UN, so why the UN would be dictating our legislation and our domestic immigration policy is beyond me. But basically, through mass immigration, we're being ethnically cleansed out of large parts of our own country, as has been seen. And that it's not a controlled immigration, which would be fine, but this is through mass immigration, and this has been done by the corporatist globalists. This is to balkanise the United Kingdom and to allow the bringing out of the one world fascist government. Who put them there as well, not us. They need to go, man. They certainly do need to go, buddy. And that's it. And the only way they're going to go is by joining UKIP. I mean, May's obviously deliberately made a mess of Brexit. She's deliberately done that. Nobody's going to vote. The Remainers and the Leavers don't want to vote for our daft legislation. And I told you that was going to happen. I said to you she was going to make a mess of it. She was never in it. She's possibly going to go down as the worst Prime Minister in British history. And she should definitely go. Here's the money on it. I knew that they might not be, the Conservatives might not have the guts to actually go. But we saw another, the Conservatives might not have the guts to do a vote of no confidence in her. But now we're going to actually see the more and more people resign. So that was another guy going today. I think before it goes next, I think it's a week on Monday, we'll see more and more resignations, which will really, they won't need a vote of confidence. That'll put a hole under a water thing, as has been thrown in Parliament. Yet no, the votes, we're going down on the 9th of December, on the Sunday the 9th in London at Westminster. And the vote is on the 10th or the 11th, I think, Monday or Tuesday of the following week. The vote for the Marrakesh Declaration is sometime this month, which nobody has been informed about. Nobody was informed about the Union in the Mediterranean or the Barcelona process. Basically the globalists just lie, sign these things, and we don't know about them. So they're not discussed. They're not even brought out into the public domain. They're just done under the radar, and they're signed for the globalists, for the moves towards the one world fascist government. If you think about a one world government, that would just be tyranny. It would be a political tyranny. It would be a political tyrannical class that would actually sit above everything else. And what they're trying to do is now break down, through the use of mass immigration, break down Europe. Yes, man, I was telling my mate about the agreement yesterday, yeah. And tell absolutely everybody. There's some really good comments on YouTube. So, I hope Alex Jones, I would love to speak to Alex Jones. I hope Alex Jones gets his pass to go to the White House. You should sign the petition to allow Alex Jones to go to the White House. Banning 100 websites. Maybe we should start banning these websites in the UK. Maybe that would be, if they're going to discriminate against people based on their political preferences, maybe we should just start banning them in the UK and do a firewall like China does, and don't allow them if they're going to discriminate based on political preference. And basically back up the globalist agenda. We are not being, as the people that live here, we are not being given any information. We are not involved in the political process. And when we are involved in the political process, our political class ignores us. I mean, they've already ignored the vote by the 17.4 million people on Brexit. They're trying to fudge it. This is not Brexit. Brexit is leaving the EU, and then we can negotiate a free trade deal or free trade deal with 0% tariffs, which will basically allow the free trading as we had, but we don't have to be tied in to any of the EU's rule books. So, and we could also just cut taxes. We could cut taxes and regulation, and our economy would boom. So, right, I'll see you later, Tim. See you, bud. That's basically it. That's where we're at just now. It's really disgusting. We've got disgusting politicians just now. Really, absolutely disgusting. They really need to go. I might actually even stand for UKIP as well in Scotland, because we certainly made a big dent on there's a million people, a million Scots who are pro-Brexit, who the SNP, the Greens, the Liberals, the Conservatives, and the Labour Party are not representing just now. So that's a million potential votes who are not being represented by our political class at present. And we're a new type of UKIP. We're the UKIP Liberalists, which is libertarian or classical liberalism, which is basically centrist, but we're libertarians. We are against authoritarianism. So we're now got a massive thing, some massive stuff happening. We see a lot of the guys down in London. I think Nigel should hold the fire. He's saying they don't care about us, man. They treat us like kids. That's right. Of course they don't. Of course they don't. But you're as guilty as anybody else. If you're voting for the Lib Lab Con Party, the Green Party, the SNP, you're voting for globalist parties. The SNP are not. The SNP have got 500,000 members who voted Brexit, and not one of their 35 or whatever it is MPs down there are voting or are not wanting to be part of the customs union, part of the single market, which is effectively keeping us in the EU. So they're not ready. The million Scots who voted Brexit. Never voted my life, mate. Then they're all the same. Vote UKIP. Vote UKIP. That's it. We're all voting UKIP. If you've not voted, you should start voting and vote UKIP. They are all the same, apart from UKIP. So we're all now going to vote UKIP. Good man. Well, now good. We're all the amount of people that's joining UKIP just now is unbelievable. The actual thing is rocketing. It's sitting at 8% and climbing. It was nearly Jared Baton actually saved the party, refinanced it, and now has turned it right round. And he understands Islam as well. Whereas Nigel, I don't think, has read the Quran. So Nigel's correct in so many things. He's a great orator, a great guy. I've got a lot of time for Nigel. I don't think we should be slagging Nigel off in any way. I think he was wrong to actually criticise Jared Baton. I think Jared Baton's... see you later, buddy. Jared Baton. And I think, and Tommy Robinson, I think Tommy makes mistakes, but I think his heart's certainly in the right place. And that's probably half the battle. The problem is Islam, and the problem has always been Islam. And people don't understand what, because they haven't even bothered to read it. I'll give you a couple of quotes now. Iraq used to be Christian. Syria used to be Christian. Afghanistan used to be Buddhist. And Pakistan used to be Hindu. And none of these countries are Hindu or Muslim or anything else. Basically, they've been taken over by Islam. What is Islam? Islam is also a political ideology. The political side of Islam, because it's an all of life sort of collection. Why you would need a book to actually live your life, I don't know. Islam money for the government equals money for the government. That's right. They're quite happy to sell us out, and as long as they're getting their mortgage paid. So, Islam is a theocratically fascist system of governance, and a theocratically fascist system of governance. So why Antifa are not at their local mosque, I don't know. If you look at Qatar, UAE, Saudi, they're all totalitarian ideologies. Hello, Frank. Hello from Texas. They're all totalitarian ideologies. So why Antifa are not at their local mosque campaigning against Islam, I don't know, because they are fascist. If you're saying you're a political Muslim, you're a fascist. And that's basically the situation. You are Islam is a theocratically fascist system of governance, a theocratically totalitarian system of governance. It means that there's a dictator in charge, and that they basically treat non-Muslims as demis, which is second-class citizens. The belt that you actually holds up your trousers came from Islam. So and how to identify it. So that's basically the Slavs. The Slavs were, it comes from the word the slaves, because they were enslaved by the Turkish Muslims, who in the 19th century under Ataturk murdered 1.5 million Christian Armenians. In fact, there is virtually no Christians in Turkey, and Turkey used to be called Byzantium, and Istanbul used to be called Constantinople, and basically they were all exterminated. So Islam's a big threat, and unfortunately our political class has capitulated. Now we can't criticise Islam, we can't criticise mass immigration because it comes to a hate crime. Well, I think what we're going to find is maybe potentially going towards something that's not going to be pleasant. And it's not going to be good from that point of view. It's going to be a very bad. If you're starting to penalise and prosecute people for basically speaking and freedom of speech, then we are heading down a very, very dark tunnel. And that's going to be something. And if you're a globalist and you're just interested in yourself, that's going to be a very dark tunnel for you. Anyway, that's it. So we've got a disaster for a political class. We need to change them. All of them. They all need to go. They all need to go, and so do I. Thank you very much, my baby gorillas. I love you guys, and I will speak to you soon.